Hey there, hopheads and malt brains. You're listening to Drinking Socially, Untapped's official podcast, and your inside look into what's happening in the Untapped community and the world of beer. This episode is brought to you by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. Family owned, operated, and argued for. Yes, over. Excuse me. And remember, like, subscribe, follow us, all those things. Hit the bell. You know how social media works. Make it happen. Okay, so summer break. 2 words full of magic for every school-age kid, really in the world. I'm talking about going to the beach, camping in the woods, climbing trees, eating ice cream and hot dogs and cheeseburgers, staying up late, catching fireflies. I had to take like 100 baths in aloe because I would always forget that sunburn was a thing. I still forget. The less time for aloe baths. All those images immediately flood my mind when I think back on summer breaks of yesteryear. The fondness of the memories, our welcome escape from the present, which is really a life devoid of the enchantment that was summer break, a life full of adult things like taxes and renewing my AAA membership and saying phrases like, let's circle back to this. And is this donut gluten-free? Ugh, a life full of responsibilities and rules. Until now! So I'm excited to announce that summer break for adults is here in the most adult form possible, a beer! And not just any beer. Summer break, which is the name of the beer, is actually a hazy session IPA, Sierra Nevada's spring seasonal this year. They brought it back. It debuted last year for the first time. Obviously, everybody loved it, so it's back again. And so because of that, this felt like the perfect time to bring our friend back, Scott Jennings, innovation brewer at Sierra Nevada, onto the show to talk more about how they managed to pack all this hop flavor into a lower ABV IPA. We're going to bring Scott on in a moment, but first, let's get our co-host up here, the Executive VP of Product for Untapped, and, of course, more importantly, an original Drinking Socially co-host, Kyle Roderick. How we doing, Kyle?
More importantly, hey, Harrison. Good to see you.
Unbiased. Clearly.
Glad we were able to touch base here on this extremely business-focused podcast that we have as adults.
Adult things.
That's right.
With
I'm super glad.
Tonight.
Yeah, right. Just a tiny bit. I'm excited. I'm mostly excited, Harrison, for the Sierra Nevada Summer Break IPA 2022 badge. We did run one last year, so if you missed out, sorry.
What are you doing?
But you got to get this year's. This one is a cannonball of hops. So much so, in fact, that Sierra Nevada, which always makes very, very good badge artwork, this year just gave it 110%. Really? Didn't phone it in right there, during finals. They brought it all the way to the finish line and animated the badge for the Untapped users. So you can go ahead and earn that. Check in one summer break from Sierra Nevada between April 3rd and May 18th, 2022. And you'll earn this badge.
Boom. I love it. I love these straightforward badges. Get the beer, check it in, tell your friends.
Drink it.
Stuff.
Have another one.
I know.
Get a 6-pack.
Right. That's what I was laughing about. I was like, check into one, and I was like, that's the challenge to just check into one. Like, I have a 12-pack and a 6-pack. They're both almost gone. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one of those beers where you have it and you're like, let's have another. And thank goodness 12 packs exist. So, but anyway, let's get Scott on the show. We can talk and, kind of pontificate about things all day long, Kyle. But we have an expert here, the man himself who actually had a hand and blood, sweat, and tears into this beer. Scott Jennings from Sierra Nevada. Let's get him on the show and let's drink some beer. Scott, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to see you.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, you as well. I'm pumped to enjoy summer break. So let's do that. Let's grab this beer and let's right into it. You're probably ahead of us, Scott, because you're a professional. There we are.
I got it right here. Here we go.
Already opened mine. I know. Beautiful. And you're right. I mean, the can, the artwork,
new artwork this year, too.
Bit, but,
yeah. I'm loving it.
I know.
Very good.
I've got my weathered Sierra Nevada glass that's been through the wash a couple times.
Oh, it's a classic. Yeah. It's classic.
A lot of good nights with this glass. A lot of laughs. All those things, and about to be another one added to the list right here. Ooh, all right.
Look at
Cheers,
that.
everybody.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everybody.
This thing.
Ooh, just
Ooh,
bright.
gosh, I love this beer.
Yeah.
I get a lot of citrus on the nose.
Oh, yeah.
first.
Right?
Yeah, you were saying earlier, about the why check into just one. That was great, by the way. But as a low ABV, I mean, this is a session beer. Obviously, it's 4.5. Is it 4.5? 4.6%.
4.6, right.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the point. Summer. It's going to be hot out there. You're going to want more than a couple. So
Right.
that's sort of the point with that.
Right, exactly. And it checks that box. And for me, like session IPAs, you can write a book about it. I'm sure people have. It had such an interesting history. At first, people were like, what? An IPA? I can drink more IPAs because it has less ABV. And then people were like, this is just a pale ale. And people were like, no, it's not. It's more bitter. And like this whole revolution happened. And then it kind of calmed down. But what like we are left with is this amazing beer where exactly kind of the first impression I had of this style is what it is. It's a flavorful, full flavored beer, but I can have a few of them and still be able to cannonball and jump off the diving board safely enough into the pool and all that stuff and not have to worry about much. And that's hard to do. It feels like it's like just an observer to make a flavorful beer, low ABV, but it's got a lot of flavor to it. Am I
It
right,
is.
Scott?
It is hard to do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. I mean, to be honest with you guys, we've tried and failed a few times,
Okay.
and getting this right. But one of the things that you take for granted is alcohol in and of itself creates a lot of body and sweetness in beers as we know them.
Sure.
And you'll know this when you might sip on a bourbon, for example, or a scotch, and there's a lot of sweetness there. There's a lot of body there,
Right.
but the sugar content is not such that you would attribute that sweetness to the sugar alone. So alcohol really plays a big part in that. And when you take that way down, you're all and make no other changes.
Right.
You're all of a sudden going to have a beer that's not in balance, and it's not going to be drinkable. It's not going to be right.
Right.
A lot of times you'll come across this style, and you can get an impression of thinness. Some folks say watery. I say thinness, just lacking in body. You know what I mean?
The session IPAs too, they tend to sometimes have this kind of like cloying, almost like it's too dry taste to it, where you're right, like there's not enough sweetness. You almost you're like, I don't know, like I gotta add something to this to add a little bit of body to it. Thin definitely checks that box as well. Yeah.
And another thing that can happen is it can be overbearing in bitterness.
Right.
Once you kind of take the alcohol down, and anyway, it's all about balance, and that's one of the hardest things to do to get right in a style like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys did it. So let's talk about that. Obviously, it's easy to talk about hops in an IPA. I want to start with the malts, though. I mean, are there oats in here? Am I getting some wheat? Like, how are we? Because this is a great balanced beer. I mean, it's got a beautiful kind of like quick biscuity note almost right at the beginning. And then it's this awesome, as Kyle said, like citrusy kind of juicy thing happening. But it's just so balanced.
Yeah. So, first of all, I mean, note the haze. It's got a delicate haze. It's not real milky by any means, but it's a little less haze than say our usual hazy little thing. But that's because primarily it's got a lot less body than hazy little thing. But you're right. There's some oats in there. The base malt, of course, is just pale malt. And then on top of that, we put some malted wheat. Then we use, and that helps contribute to the haze quite a lot. Then we use oats, and we use both malted and raw oats.
Got it.
Yeah, and the oats are really interesting. more so than wheat a little bit, oats will help give you the sense of body in beer. You're creating a silkiness, almost like a creamy kind of a mouthfeel, and oats are really effective at that. So we use malted as well as raw oats to help in that. The raw oats more so to help really bring the body up, because when you do a low gravity beer, and this one's only around 11.5 Plato original gravity.
Right.
One of the challenges that we've found, not only on this beer, but any others that we do that are kind of similar, when you have a low OG beer, it's really hard to not have a really, really high degree of attenuation.
Right.
So what I'm talking about is when, you end up fermenting way down, and so your ending gravity is really low. And that's not what we want in a beer like this, because it needs to have that fullness and that balance. So raw oats really helps maintain a certain final gravity, as well as what we do in the brew house with that.
Right. That's fantastic. And I mean, I love how you described oats as being kind of velvety. I mean, for me, and I feel like for a lot of craft beer fans, the first time you come across oats in a beer is like in a stout, an oatmeal stout.
Right.
And it's that velvety is that exactly when you're drinking your first oatmeal stout. That's like really the only word that probably is in your head immediately. So cool that like, however it happened, and maybe you have some insight into this, is like now it's in IPAs. It's in so many other beers. It's such a cool kind of grain to play with. And you guys have two different kinds of it doing two different things in this beer, which is not surprising. You guys are always innovating, but it's pretty cool to just oats itself. You think of oatmeal, Quaker oats, like no, they can do a lot. Like this is a really cool grain.
Yeah, and it's nothing new in the world of brewing either malted or unmalted forms. It's really more of a just a question of, as a brewer, in your mind when you go through what target flavors and aromas and mouthfeel that you are looking for when you're coming up with a new recipe. What I do is, I reach in and think about how to get there, and the ingredients, knowing them very, very well, and certain hops we can blend together to create certain flavor impressions, and then you can use even different hops blended together in even different ways to create different aroma impressions. But really, honestly, it starts with just an idea, and you say, let's make a full flavored, balanced, but low alcohol IPA. No, wait a second. Let's make it a hazy IPA, and it'll be fruity and juicy and creamy, and we'll keep that ABV down way low. And then you just work out in your head how to get there. And oats is just one of the many tricks that we have up our sleeves.
I love that. That's great. So let's take me a little bit through that journey. So this beer, was it a pilot batch? Was it other beers first, and then it kind of found its final form in summer break? How did we get here?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Look back at the brew logs.
Yeah, for anybody who's been to the tap room in Mills River, you might have come across some years ago. We did a whole bunch of experimentation with some beers we called super sessions.
Okay.
And those were at the time 2.5% ABV beers. Which we are not done playing around with yet, by the way. They're just not, widely available. But same thing for NA beer too, incidentally. But that's for a different conversation. But we play around with this kind of stuff, quite a lot over the years. And interestingly, this particular beer right here started its life a few years back under a different name that we send out for export only, specifically to the UK. And that is a beer called Hazy Little Thing Session Edition. And it's just funny. I was just over there not too long ago, and I don't know if you can see the can, but you've got the name here, and then underneath, real small, here it says, Session Hazy IPA. And on the Hazy Little Thing Session Edition, it says Hazy Little Thing real big, and then Session Edition on the bottom. And so when you go to the UK or Europe, and you order a Hazy Little Thing, more than likely that's what you're going to get, not the Hazy Little Thing that we know of.
Huh. And
it's funny because I had to burst their bubble. We just did a really cool project with a brewery out there called Adnams, and
great!
One of the beautiful beers of the world, honestly. Right. But yeah, they do some amazing things. But anyway, we were just talking about Hazy Little Thing, and they said, "Yeah, it's so great, that low ABV." And I said, "Oh, no, wait a second. That's the Session Edition." And they said, "What? There's another version?" Anyway, but so long story short, that's where this beer started out. And we didn't really have a U.S. market for it, although I think we had it on at our own locations. But 2 years ago, for the summer seasonal slot, we just decided to put it in there under Summer Break as the name, and a couple of changes in the hopping and some minor things like that. But the prototype, I would say, was that Hazy Session Edition.
Wow. I did not know that. That's sick. And that beer's got a ton of check-ins on Untapped as well. And that's still out there. It looks like in the market right now in like the UK and Europe as the session version of Hazy Little Thing.
Yeah.
Which is sick. That's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about hops then. So in Summer Break, what's happening here? What are we kind of tasting? I heard Amarillo, Chinook, some other ones, but you tell me, what should I be kind of like tasting and why?
Yeah. Well, we tried to go for some complexity in this one. So, I guess the character of the brewhouse hops are going to be a little different from the character of the dry hops. But in every case, it's a blend, and the blend is really done for reasons of complexity. We've got a fairly modest IBU on this one.
Yeah.
And so that presents a certain amount of challenge just right off the bat, because you want to really, really load up your wort with late hopping, but not overshoot your IBU target. And so we've got a couple of low alpha varieties. The first to boil is about the lowest alpha variety I think we can get, and it's called Strisselspalt.
Okay.
And that's an interesting one. It's a French hop. When you kind of evaluate it on its own, it's real grassy, maybe a hint of lemon, but a very herbaceous hop. But we're using that at the top of the boil, not for that herbaceous characteristic, but because it's got a low alpha acid content. So we can put a decent amount in there and then save a lot of, let's say, BU bandwidth for the Whirlpool edition, and all the rest of it, hot side that is going in the Whirlpool. So that's where we'd start loading it up.
Wow. Yeah, that's a cool hop that you don't see everywhere, but I mean, I totally get what you're saying in terms of. And then so they say that's the first edition you guys do, but it's late in the boil. It's like almost it is the Whirlpool.
No, that's start of boil, right? Okay, start of the boil.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you're not getting a heck of a lot of BUs from that. What we're doing then after that is we're doing a bunch of Whirlpool hopping, and that's a pretty massive amount. That is a blend of Comet, which is a really cool U.S. variety that I think, as far as I remember, was nearly at risk of being out of production because it's kind of a pain in terms of harvesting. The farmers have a hard time with it because the cones are enormous. They're like 4 and 5 inches long, these cones, and so they're really difficult to run through the picking equipment. But here you get a lot of, really, really citrus forward character. So we're blending with that Laurel, which is kind of a fun, and much newer than Comet hop. And then on top of that, we're putting a little bit of Mandarina Bavaria.
Wow.
Which is kind of fun too. That's a German hop, which will give you not a real bright citrus like a fresh sliced, orange or a grapefruit, but more of a like an orange preserves kind of a character.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the blend, the secret. Well, not secret anymore. Secret Whirlpool blend.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's right. Yeah. Every home brewer is rapidly taking down notes. I got it.
I mean, honestly, like when you think of the hop bill of most hazy IPAs, like none of what you mentioned is frankly like what I would be looking for on a can, right? Like it's not your typical like sexy, mosaics or, citras or anything like that. And I think the complexity, like you mentioned, really comes out here. There's like an interesting kind of like lingering floralness to it that does, even though with you've got kind of like that smooth, easy drinking flavor, there's something that like makes you want to just go back and get another sip and like kind of completely coat your palate with that that like citrusy, floral, juicy flavor.
Yeah, it's jammy almost. It's
right.
It's like it's bordering on savory even.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of the point, I guess, is we really wanted this one to be differentiated from the other beers in our lineup. We use a crap load of Citra and and Mosaic and other brands. There's a little bit in the dry hop on this one of Citra, but that's not what it's all about here.
Right.
What I was going for is what I want people to, if anybody comes back to me and tells me this, I'll consider it, a success. But I'm hoping that you might have an impression that reminds you of something like a roll of Lifesavers. Or like if anybody remembers these, the old juicy fruit gum or fruit stripe scum.
Yeah, fruit stripe.
Very fruity, very, very juicy, but definitely complex enough that you can't say, it's grapefruit or, it's mango or, anything definitive. But it's more of an overall just juiciness. Roll of Lifesavers. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I think maybe even Fruit Loops, right? You got a little bit of that like biscuity, biscuity, like kind of overwhelming. Like you just opened that box as well, and it's like just blasts you with the Fruit Loops flavor. Yeah,
right.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks for that, Kyle. That improves on my theory. Fruit Loops, box of Fruit Loops.
Box of Fruit Loops.
What I mean, honestly, what has happened with the beer industry where I feel like early on, right, 90s, when we're talking about like Lifesavers and those flavors, right, the mystery flavor of anything was what people wanted, right? And to me, every beer, because it's not on the can, oftentimes it's not on the can, it very much is like a mystery flavor. Like you're challenging your palate every time to figure out what is in here, what is this, like what do I like about this that makes it something I would gravitate to and want to pick up on a regular basis. Like just getting to hear more about kind of what drives that is really interesting to me.
Yeah. So, me too. I consider it kind of a challenge to, we make so many IPAs, that's, pretty close to all we make these days. Not entirely, but we'll bounce back and forth between a few things over the years. But we're all about hoppy beers, and so we've got kind of a challenge to make sure that they, if you were to have a hazy session or summer break, as it's called here, or a hazy little thing, or a big little thing, or a torpedo, or all four of those, and you do a lineup, you're going to find that they're all extremely different from each other. And that's one of the challenges that I kind of like.
Heck yeah. I know, right? We've said it a couple times on this show, but it feels like we are living in the golden age of IPA. But I've said that every year for the past 7 years, and I feel like every year I'm still right, because it keeps getting more and more. We learn more about what hops can and can't do, and we kind of have this lovely relationship between no more West Coast IPAs, all hazy, and now we want West Coast again. And the session IPA is like having this, I'm not going to call it a resurgence because it's still kind of a newer beer style, but it is something that like is synonymous with summer. It's like, where is that? Okay, where is my session IPA? It's just so cool. We've gotten to this place where, right, an IPA is no longer one thing. It is like, it almost means nothing anymore. You know, you're going to get some kind of maybe bitterness. It's going to be juicy. There's probably going to be some kind of floral citrusy thing happening, but like how bitter, how juicy, how hazy, how much ABV, you just don't know until you, like Kyle said, kind of get the can and are like, all right, what's the adventure inside here? Which, I don't know, you're right, it's cool, it's fun. It makes trying all these crazy beers out there, you know, get why there's a hobby, get why there's billions of check-ins at Untap, and people are just like, what's next? What's the next crazy thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys certainly, you know kind of written the book on IPAs, so it's cool that this is here, and that the session IPA, Sierra Nevada's take on a hazy session IPA, is everywhere. And actually, I kind of wanted to pick your brain about that for a minute, Scott. I feel like we may have talked about it before, but let's talk about it again. And actually, specific to this beer, producing so much of it, I mean, where it's like available in every grocery store in the country, and it's a hazy IPA. Those can and kind of have like a history of being tough to be like shelf stable and all that stuff. And yet this is fantastic and amazing. And, will be the entire season. Is that part of the process when you're conceptualizing this beer? Like, how do we make this great 3, 4, 5, 6 months after we've canned it? It's still tasting the way we want.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really big deal in terms of the work that I do and that our teams do.
Sure.
We know that a very small percentage of everybody who tries our beers has it within a month of when it was packaged. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation.
Right.
When you would go to our own local grocery stores near the brewery, you can find, beer that's older than a month at times. Not saying that it goes downhill at that point in time. It certainly does not. But, more than likely, the average age of the can when somebody gets it in their hands and takes it home and enjoys it is probably going to be 3 to 4 months, maybe. 3 if we're lucky, but that's not unusual.
Right.
Not at all. And I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. We have incredible distribution partners, but when you get in certain situations, the beers get some age on them.
Right.
It's unknown circumstances, right? Like how it's stored, how whether it's cool or not. Like it can be a toss up. It's really an unknown once it heads out the door.
Yeah, it's true. Storage conditions can be whatever, and so on. But at any rate, flavor stability is a major part of the work that we do, and that in this case includes haze stability too. We've learned a heck of a lot over the last 5 years with Hazy Little.
Right.
An amazing amount. So obviously we put into play everything that we've learned regarding haze stability into this beer, and every new batch of hazy beers that come out of the brewery are benefiting from all that experience and trialing and experimentation and kind of our collective knowledge on the subject. But flavor stability as well is very, very important. It's very, very complicated. It's often overlooked, but there's a lot of things that contribute to that. And I can tell you, we put in a tremendous amount of focus on the details regarding those points.
Heck yeah.
But we didn't talk about dry hops yet.
I was going to say, let's talk about dry hops.
We haven't even done that yet.
You mentioned it a moment ago. So how many additions, how many dry hops? We talked about that a lot with Powder today, but for summer break, what is the dry hopping like? What are you guys doing with this one?
Yeah, we have a couple of doses. We do a warm dose where we are trying to capitalize on kind of tropical characteristics specifically. And then then we do a cold dose. This is post tank chill, all done in the same tank, by the way, where we kind of layer on some extra things. So So yeah, it's kind of fun. A couple of varieties in there that you might not expect from what you get when you smell the beer. But we've got a little bit of mosaic on the warm dose. That's nice. quite tropical. Really generates some lovely character. But when we pair with that, one of my favorite hops, good old Chinook. Which is kind of funny because that hop is very much grapefruit focused and pine focused. But in a warm dose, you definitely get more citrus and less pine. But it does contribute a pretty good amount of total oil into the beer because it's a pretty high alpha hop.
Right.
So that's kind of fun. So, we're layering, we're pairing up interesting hops together to create complexity. And to finish the beer off with the cold dose, we use a New Zealand variety that is called Pacifica.
Okay.
And that one is a really kind of a cool one because it is, a lot of people think of New Zealand hops as being very, very specifically tropical in nature.
Right.
And this is almost like a cross between, I don't know. If you were to make a hop rub blend and try and match Pacifica, I would say you could do pretty well with something like a little bit of maybe Vic's Secret, and a little bit of Cascade. It's got some complexity to it. So we're putting that in on the cold dose again to just really get that, as Kyle you rightly pointed out, the Fruit Loops impression.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is a good one.
And so so you're kind of blending that all together, doing a couple of different doses of it. And then so I'm curious, from start to finish, brew day to packaging, what is the time about until this thing's in cans and out the door on average?
I would say we can get that done in 14, 15 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So and that's so cool for many reasons. And obviously you have heck of a demand to meet. So kind of tank space is pretty valuable and need to be moving through it. But the fact that we get an IPA that's like kind of that recently dry hopped and then out the door is so cool. And maybe lost on, if you're maybe not thinking about it the first time you open a beer like this, is like you're going to get not only a great beer, but like something that was, if you get it early enough right away, like, or certainly before it got in the can, like right before it got in the can, this thing was dry hopped just a few days earlier. Or so, which is, it's awesome. And
we bring the beers back through our sensory panel, routinely as they're aging, and even we do that while we store them in different conditions, warm or cold storage and whatever. But I really like to say that over the years we've gotten pretty good at flavor stability. So I have every confidence that unless the beer was stored in someone's trunk in Miami for over the weekend, up to 3-4 months when the beer's been treated really well, you're going to have that really bright hop character still. And even beyond that, I think it presents really, really very well.
Yeah. No, especially since you all are very active on decoding your beers as well. I think that trust in that it's stable. It's going to stay great no matter really what the date on the bottom of the can is. I think that's just, it's more proof that what you all are making is really good and folks are enjoying it. I definitely do look out for it. I'm obviously in California and we've got a brewery real close to us. The fresher I can get Sierra Nevada, the better, but I'll never shy away no matter what the date on the bottom is from you all. It's always good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We put, like I said, a lot of work into that. So that's something I'm really proud of over the years.
Heck yeah, and absolutely. And actually, on that same subject, I'm curious. Obviously, you guys are beer is canned. Almost all of your beers are canned as well as bottled now. Mm-hmm. So was that did that kind of add to that equation a little bit? Discovering maybe the stuff in the can maybe was shelf-stable a little bit longer, and so let's can everything, or was it that not like a non-factor, and it was more about let's just get the liquid great, and regardless of what vessel it ends in?
Yeah, that's not really that much of a factor. The move from bottles to cans is really market driven. Okay. It's not so much about the beer itself. We don't bottle this one. We do keg it, right, and we do can it, of course. But that's really market driven more than anything else. The difference between bottle beer and can beer in terms of oxidation and flavor stability has more to do with the quality, let's say, of the equipment that is being used when that packaging occurs, and the skill of the staff doing that to keep those TPOs, total packaged oxygen numbers, way down.
Right.
That makes way more difference than the package itself. Granted, over time, you can have a little bit of oxygen ingress through the liner of the crown on the bottle, but the impact of that is far less significant than the quality of the packaging operations in the first place.
Right.
So again, we put a whole lot of time and investment into filling cans with without oxygen, and of course, there's never going to be zero oxygen, but right, pretty dang close, and that has to do with hats off. Our packaging teams are absolutely crushing it every day. It is really, really hard to get a package integrity as good as those people can do. So hats off to them.
Amazing. Yes. Cheers to those folks for kind of maybe the unsung heroes. I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. And then the yeast for this, is this your house yeast, the kind of world famous?
Yep.
Chico. All right, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing as well. So, what else should we know about this beer, Scott? I mean, it's only around for a little bit, so obviously don't sleep on it. This is your seasonal through like June, about, I think.
Yeah, it's about right. Okay. It'll probably be out there here and there a little longer than that, but it is a seasonal. It's the second year that we've done it. For all the listeners out there, if you all like it, let us know. And if we should, keep that coming back for next year. I'd love to hear from everybody.
Heck yeah. I mean, and the Untapped check-ins speak a little bit for that. I mean, it's certainly getting some love on Untapped. There have been more than 33,000 total check-ins of summer break. That's 759 each month. So that's impressive for a seasonal that is only in year number 2 of existing, and really like the early part of that season. I mean, it was just released really a couple weeks ago. I started seeing people checking it in on Untapped again. So that says a lot. But yeah, I mean, obviously, how should they reach out? Do you guys like people like emailing you, commenting on Facebook? What's the best way for someone to like show their summer break love?
Oh, any of those works fine. Okay. We check it all.
Smoke signals, rent a plane with a banner. They can drive by.
Just keep buying it.
Well, heck, just even better, come on down to the brewery. Right. Let us know what you think.
I like that. I know it's such a trip. I mean, we could talk about Mills River and Chico and how they're like the Willy Wonka for every beer fan. I feel like everybody says that, but that means they're probably onto something. If you haven't been to either of the locations or the Torpedo Room, I mean, it's everything you'd think it is, and then some.
And for those interested, when you do come to the brewery, you can get prototypes, experimental beers, special things that you cannot get anywhere else ever. So
anywhere,
come on down.
Yeah, you may drink a future seasonal beer in its early forms there. Who knows?
You probably could. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I love it. Well, I mean, this has been awesome drinking summer break. However, I think we have a bonus beer tonight as well.
We do.
You guys, let's jump into what we have next year. You guys were kind enough to send us Sunny Little Thing, your new citrus wheat ale. Booyah!
It's very good.
Let's crack this guy open. I've been drinking. Full disclosure, I've been drinking Summer Break for like a week and a half and been loving it. But like every night, it's kind of been a tradition. It's getting more. It's 80 degrees here. I need that beer. You
guys haven't tried it?
No. Ooh. First go.
Okay, cool. Whoa. Well, then you guys lead off here.
Oh my gosh!
I just like stopped. I could smell it. It was like 2 feet in front of me. I could smell it just halfway through the pour. Incredible.
The orange. Ooh, man. Let me take a sip. And then I already have questions. I've been drinking it out of my brain. I can't slow myself down.
Yeah, I love to see people's reactions when they try this one for the first time.
I'm going straight to Sunny D. Like, I don't even need to take. That's incredible.
You're right. It's that Sunny D orange. You're right, Kyle. Ooh. Is there grapefruit? Is there grapefruit too?
Yes, there is.
Oh man, you got to be kidding me!
Yeah, that is refreshing for sure, isn't it?
Yes, this is amazing. This is you got to be joking. Especially, I mean, after the summer break, so the hoppy part of my beer brain is happy.
Yeah,
now it's getting like a malty treat. But again, how you make such balanced beers blows my mind. When I hear there's fruit in a beer, my immediate thought, I think a lot of like beer fans thought is like, oh, that's going to be a sweeter beer than it needs to be.
Right.
Nope. Like this is like Kyle said, it's like it's like a grapefruit orange punching me in the face, but it's delicious. There's no cloyingness. There's no like over sweetness at all. It's like, it's almost like orange peel dryness to it as well. Just a little bit.
Very much so. Right? Yeah.
Okay, so is there rind in here? Is there what's happening, Scott? My mind has questions.
But balance, once again, that is the thing that we talk about every time we talk, isn't it? Yeah. It's so hugely important. You know, in this one, you really want to have, and incidentally, this is kind of different for us. You know, there's really no hop presence in it at all. You know, that's not. Sure. What we're going for here. We're going for very much a citrus, really a real, citrus juice character. But once again, balance, it still needs to be beer. You still have to have not too acidic, not too sweet, not too bitter. It really needs to be repeatable because again, this is an outdoor beer. This is an all day beer. Wow.
Truly. I mean, that's right. So it's like 5% ABV. So you can enjoy a couple of these. And let's talk about like the ingredients a bit, and really like the one that I'm sure everyone is wondering about as soon as they have it is, so the fruit, it's orange and grapefruit.
Yep.
And tell me about, when are you guys adding it? What part of the fruit? Like walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the base beer.
Sure.
It is a pretty straightforward, what I guess I would call an American wheat. Okay. So, and by that, I mean, as opposed to a wit or a Hefeweizen or something like that. So you're not going to have any phenolic character. There's going to be no clove, no banana. We use, once again, our good old Chico ale yeast in this one. And it's in a wheat heavy base beer. So that's where we start. Very little hops. The BUs are, I'm stretching a little bit here. I want to say they're maybe 12 or 14 or something. Mm-hmm. So really, really low. But the point is all about the citrus.
Right.
So we've done some citrus focused beers in the past, and in that case we've really relied on rind to get that done.
Sure.
And when you pair that with the right hops, you can really get that jammy kind of character. But it's not as bright of a character when you do it in that way as what we were going for in this beer. So we moved away from that on this beer. It's not hop heavy at all. And so what we're doing is we're adding our citrus post-fermentation. So that way you don't run the risk of volatilizing citrus character during fermentation. As you know, CO2 is venting off. You don't run the risk of losing any because of interactions with yeast or anything like that. You don't lose it with filtration either, as we don't really filter the beer. Obviously, it's cloudy.
Sure.
It's unfiltered. But at any rate, so what we're using is, I'm not going to spill the beans entirely, but it's a blend of orange and grapefruit. But it's a pure juice, dehydrated juice. Powder. So imagine taking, the juice of an orange and the juice of a grapefruit, and you take all the water away. Yes. And then we can add that to the beer. There's nothing artificial about it. It's just fruit juice.
Right. I love that. So it's like Tang, but it's real Tang. Tang is the imitator.
There's nothing real about Tang, I'll tell you.
Tang is the opposite, the inverse of this.
I mean, Harrison, if they're looking for something to take to space, like they gotta take this to space.
Leave Tang on the moon. This is what we need. This is an adult, better version than Tang. Yeah, let's not get started on Tang. Yeah. Talk about summer break.
No. The citrus is 100% totally natural. It's just how you add it and when you add it, as to that impression that comes out of the can finally at the end.
Well, you guys crushed it. And this is available in your variety pack, right? There's like the whole hazy, the little thing variety pack.
It is, but it's also available standalone, if not everywhere now. We're working towards that. We're trying to keep up with it. Honestly, we're pretty busy at the brewery, so we're doing the best we can with it.
But this is, I mean, talk about like a summer combo. I could live off of summer break and sunny little thing. Like this is it. This like checks all the beer boxes. It's great. Like wheat beer in the summer, that feels like hot dogs at a baseball game. It feels like you should have your summer wheat beer. And now that done for me. Found it.
That's it.
There you go. Take it to your nearest baseball game as soon as you can.
That's right.
Yeah. I think the thing for this too is this opens up, I think, some possibilities of like cooking with this for me. I'm thinking like desserts or ribs or carnitas with sunny little thing. Like it's got kind of like somewhere in the like summery barbecue but food range. I'm very interested in finding a way to use this. Again, like you mentioned, no hop character, so I'm not really concerned with how that's gonna make certain food taste a little awkward after cooking it.
That's true. When you cook with beer, you can often get a bitterness that you're not really excited about. But and as much as a self-professed hophead, as much as I hate to admit it, not all of our fans are hopheads. And this is something that we're, with Sunny, really trying to make sure that we can put something out there for people who are maybe not into IPAs, or maybe they want a little variety in their lives in terms of their beer selections. So, but if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. And once again, let me know what you think.
Yes, easy to do. And this beer, I'm so excited. Thank you guys again for sending it to us, because this is amazing. It was a surprise. Opened up the box and I was like, "What? Bonus beer!" That's always exciting for me as a fan of beer. But already, this thing's got almost 6,000 check-ins on Untappd, and this is the first year this sunny little thing is out. Correct?
It's pretty much brand new. Cool. Brand new.
Well, it didn't waste any time quickly finding its place in the Untappd universe. I'm watching Sharon H on Untappd right now cooking some king crab legs while enjoying this. We're doing it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
I know. It's kind of fun going through Untapped photos and seeing the food that people make with a lot of these beers.
Yeah.
There's definitely, good food and good beer, right? Like it's not, don't overthink it too much. That sounds like a good time to me. But this beer in particular, I'm seeing a lot of photos with food and beer. So Kyle, you may be onto something. Certainly onto something with this beer, Scott. This thing is killer. And I'm pumped that I now don't have to hunt and enjoy a bunch of wheat beers to find my one for the summer. That's done.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. Like I said, some of you might remember we did play around with orange pale ales in the past.
Yeah.
And those were still very hop focused. And, it really was, I don't know, in retrospect, it was a little bit of a miss for the folks who were really looking for, really loved to look for hops. And in the same vein, the folks who are really looking more for, juicy and less hop character. So we try to, satisfy everybody all at the same time with that. And I think we, learned a lot from those days. And so a pretty good rebound, I would say, is exactly what we tasted today, with the summer break being, very, very hop focused, but not too bitter, still really, really sessionable for a couple of reasons. And the sunny, we just call it sunny.
Yeah.
That one really just taking that fruit box for those who are just really, really looking for that pure citrus experience.
Yep. And you did it. You did it. You nailed it again. It's so cool. So let's, in kind of closing thoughts here, what else can we look forward to for the rest of the year for you guys in Sierra Nevada? I heard whispers of maybe a new fall seasonal, but what else? What can you tell us today, Scott, without spilling too many beans too early?
Yeah, well, it is true. We do have a new fall seasonal coming out. But let me stop right there and just say, don't worry. Celebration will come as planned. Don't worry. I know. Celebration is, that's our, that's our lifeblood anyway. But
right.
Oh,
anyway.
Mine too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It is my blood from October through January. That's all I'm made out of, I think.
So no worries when we talk about fall seasonal. There's just something new, something fun that we're going to put out there, and that's, in a way, kind of an extension of the sort of. We're kind of, building this common thread between a few of these seasonals. You got Powder Day, you've got Summer Break. These are the very hop focused beers. So we've got another one that's going to come out in the fall, and it is called Liquid Hoppiness.
Ooh, sold.
So I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Maybe we can taste that one when it comes out together. But
yes,
it's we're excited. We're really excited about this one.
That sounds amazing. Always something to look forward to for you guys. I feel like it's so impressive how many new beers you come out with just in the past couple years and not slowing down. So if you're not following you guys on Instagram, on all the social medias, if that's your thing, do it, because I feel like every other week or month I learn about some new beer you guys are kind of cooking up, or some new variety pack. A lot of those from you guys that are great in the market right now. There's always something new brewing. And we just get to benefit from it and drink about it. Drink with it, drink about it, drink it. It's working.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And that's I'm lucky to be in these shoes, even though I'm not wearing any shoes right now. Right here. But
that's the summer break doing that, right? Like that. Right. You take a sip and they instantly just fly off your feet, and you're like,
right. No more shoes.
How did I end up in this inner tube on a lazy river? It's just what kind of happened.
Right.
It's
a
magic.
Cannonball all of a sudden. Right. This is terrifying but amazing. How did I get here? No questions. Just go with the flow.
Your mileage may vary, but I am going to say it is a transportation device. Just the beer takes you right into there.
That's right. I like that. The travel's relative, as is time, as are we all. But I want to thank you, Scott, for spending some time with us this evening, morning, wherever we are in the world, sharing these beers. It's a pleasure as always. And keep doing this stuff. You guys are killing it. And happy to be alive when I get to enjoy all these amazing beers you guys are cranking out. It's been nothing but a blast.
Oh, that's cool. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. We are always working on something new. So, yeah, stay tuned. We'll keep you guessing a little bit, but hopefully we'll deliver some nice surprises from time to time.
That's right, as you always do. I mean, really, in fact, I was on the website the other day or today. I think you're shipping porter out to a couple states too, and like 12 packs, I think. Yeah, that's one of those beers that you guys make that like is like amazing, but it's harder to find. And that was a joy to see that it can come, because I'm in North Carolina, like right to my front step. So truly, like there is literally always something that you guys are doing. Sometimes it's just a beer you haven't had in a while that you're bringing back, which is, we don't need to open up that can of worms. I'm sure the list of like how many people asking about Ruthless Rye.
I know. I was going to say we get that all the time. Porter being really iconic in this country and early craft beer movement. The same with our original stout. And then there's been so many just beautiful beers over the years that have kind of came and run their course. And you know what though? We'll bring them back from time to time. We will, absolutely. And that's a pretty active part of some of our small batch processes, is bringing back some of the fan favorites.
That's right. I love it. I love being a fan. It's a great time to be a fan. And if you're like Porter website, if you're in California, DC, Kentucky, North Carolina, North Dakota, Nebraska, I think that's what that one is, New Hampshire, Ohio, PA, Virginia, and Vermont, you can probably get that beer sent right to you. So that's a great, whatever, we can talk about porters forever, but that's like this time of year when the nights are cold, but the days are kind of warmer, porter, boom. I'll take that in spring and fall and whenever, all the time, but good timing on that. But anyway, I want to thank you again, Scott. This is killer. I'm going to enjoy probably another summer break in a moment. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon, but cheers, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, anytime. Good to see you guys. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.
That's it. Cheers. Have a great night.
Cool.
Cheers.
Thanks, Scott.
Woo. Yes. Bonus beer, Kyle.
Truly incredible. Like, I want to go make a badge for this, because I feel like I'm just, I need to, something has to commemorate this incredible opportunity I've had to try this beer with you all. It's, when I say Sunny D, like, it's so close. Like, it's frightening how close this is. Truly, summer was Sunny D for me.
Sure. I know. Yeah.
That's it. It's liquid gold.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say earlier when we were talking about fruit stripe gum for summer break. I literally had a summer break memory of being like at a gas station on a trip somewhere in the summer. What are you going to get for your snack? A pack of fruit stripe gum. And like before we left the gas station, I had half the pack in my mouth because the flavor lasts a second, but it's so good. You're like, I'll risk joking on this 99-cent gum because I just want to keep the flavor going. The flavor lasts way longer in the summer break. But when you said fruit stripe, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm somewhere in New Jersey on the turnpike. I'm young. The world's in front of me, full of hope, and my mouth is full of fruit stripe gum.
That's what Sierra Nevada does well for me, at least, right? Like, they've been around in California forever. Right. It is nostalgia in a can for me. It's like the taste, the flavor, but it's not just them like sticking back to their roots. They are innovating like crazy and making some incredible beers. So I'm super glad that we were able to try this stuff and summer break.
Cool as heck. It's cool as heck. And hopefully I'll have Scott back again. I want to drink all kinds of beers with Scott. I want to drink pale ale with Scott. I want to go deep into the weeds of the history of probably the most famous craft beer ever. Certainly, a pioneer. Obviously, books have written about it. So maybe we'll see. We'll see what we can do here. But for now, we'll wrap up today. I want to let everyone know out there that if you haven't heard yet, Untapped Beer Festival returns to Charlotte, North Carolina, June 18th. at American Legion Memorial Stadium.
Get tickets.
Get your tickets. Jump on board. Get the tickets. Festivals on Untappd.com. Go grab some tickets. There's going to be music, a VIP lounge, unlimited beer samples. Got some of the highest Untappd ratings, in terms of what beer will be there ever, which is pretty cool too. So grab some info, grab some tickets, festivals, Untappd.com. And we'll be back soon with more beer, more guests, more fun. But until then, everybody keep your glasses clean and your cellars dark. And I'm going to go dive into that 12 pack I have of Summer Break. But cheers. Have a good one, everybody.
Cheers.